Today, on the 2nd of September, you're gonna be able to play Anno 117 Pax Romana for free. There is a public demo that is dropping at 12 CET. It will be on both Steam and Ubisoft Connect, and it will be available until the 16th of September. So obviously you can expect quite a bit of coverage of this on the channel. I'm also going to describe exactly what you can expect in the demo, and we're also going to talk in this episode about a lot of the news that came out of Gamescom and some of the devs blog. Before we do so, you may have seen on the channel a new Anno 1800 series. This may be our last one, given that Anno 117 is coming very soon in November, and therefore I made a huge one. This is more than 60 mods, each of them bringing new production, a lot of new buildings, so we have a lot of new tiers of population, etc. It's basically almost like a new game. And many of you have been asking for the list of the mods so that you can play it yourself, and so this is now available. This is available both on my Patreon for free, but it's also available directly on YouTube. Over here, just click on the post button, right? The all community button, the post, where you can see here both the link to the playlist. So you can see all of the episodes that are already live and more coming, obviously. And you can also get the link to download this. This is a pretty big folder, so you're gonna need to download it, unzip it, and then you place it where you place all of your other mods usually, if you have download mods in the past. And with that, you can basically follow along, right? You can create a city that is similar to mine and all of this. So what can you expect with this demo? First of all, you will be able to play in both Latium, right, Italy if you wish, and in Albion, the equivalent of Brittany. So you'll have access to both. It is not the full game though. It is only going to be the first 2 tiers of population in each of those regions that will be accessible. So also some buildings will definitely not be accessible. You won't have everything, but you'll be able to have a good taste of the game for sure. Also, the other limitation is that each game you will have 1 hour. You can play for 1 hour and then the game will end, but then you can restart. You can restart and do it again. So obviously we're definitely going to do a couple of games, maybe one will focusing on Albion, one will focusing on Latium, maybe we'll also have one where we try to go in Albion towards the Romanization, and one where we go maybe towards the Celtic culture. So I hope you're excited with this. Again, stay tuned on the channel. I think the first episode should drop tomorrow. In the meantime, let me share some of the other news we've learned about Albion, about the game in general. There is actually even a full trailer that is available over here for the Albion region. I won't show it in details now, but I will put it in the video description below if you want to see it. And there is definitely quite a lot of details about this region. So as a reminder, this will be the second region that will be available in the game, a bit like the New World in Anno 1800, but there is definitely some differences. The first difference is that if you want, you can start directly in Albion. Versus in Anno 1800, you have to start first in the old world, then move to the new world. As I mentioned just before, Albion is basically based a bit on real-life Britain, the Celtic heritage. So you could say also it could be, the west of France, northwest of France. But yeah, this is the idea, and that means the region is also going to look very different. And you can see it over here, right? This is very different in terms of visual than what we've seen in Latium. Latium being a lot of colors, a lot of fields. Here you're gonna have a lot more of forest, of hills, of fog, of marshes, all those type of things. Instead of starting with your tier 1 of Romans, you will start with the waters. This is the tier 1 of this region, of the Celtic region, and the key thing there is you are going to be able to then choose if you want to Romanize them or if you want to push towards the Celtic culture. So in the second tier of population, right, when you upgrade your house after having given enough needs, you'll be able to choose, do you want to stay with the Celtic culture, and that will be the smith. And you can see those smiths, they will ask for cheese or beer, for example, right? Or on the other side, you can choose to start to Romanize them and move to the mercators that will want some sausage and some bread. And of course, this is not the only difference between the two, right? There's gonna be much more. And you can even see this visually, of course, right? This would be the mercators on this side, and this would be the smith on that side. And that's not the end. There will be a third tier of population too. The Smiths will be able to go to the aldermen and the mercators to the nobles. And it pushes even further, right? Where the aldermen are said to be the most respected member in their culture, while the nobles really take a step forward toward Romanization. And you can really see it also with the buildings, with the needs and all of this that will be linked to it. With this dev blog, they also talk about some of the new AIs we will have access to in Anno 1.17. We always had AI in Anno, right? It can be the traders, it can be the pirates, and this is gonna be the same here, where we have Voada is going to be a Celtic raider. So she is a bit similar to the pirate, and she's going to be in this new region of Albion. And basically, if you go too much towards the Romanization, you know that she's going to attack you. Versus if you go towards really embracing the Celtic traditions, she may actually become your friend. Because like the pirates in Anno 1800, it is possible to make the pirates your friend. It's going to be the same over here. Then we have Max over here in the middle, which is said to be a neutral trader. But the interesting things that they're saying in the blog post over here is that there will still be an impact of if you choose to Romanize or not. He will probably do a couple of different things, and we may experience that in the demo. And then last but not least, we have over here Arth, which is apparently part of the Jørgensen family, right? In each of the Anno game, we have one of them. And he's going to be a bit kind of your rival. So he's going to build cities, expand to other islands, but apparently he's only staying in Albion, while we're going to have Dorian, who will only stay in Latium. And then even more recently, we got another dev blog continuing to go on to Albion, but on the topic of religion, because we've talked about the topic of religion a lot in Latium. So how is this working now in Albion? Well, they describe that the locals in Albion will have their own deities, right? We're going to have Epona, the goddess of horses. Mercury, Lugos, is a Romanized Celtic god associated with trade and commerce. And then we have Cernussos for the production of goods from marshes and forests. So these are our new gods, right? On top of the one that we have in Latium. And of course, similar to the gods in Latium, they will be able to help you provide boosts and bonuses. Similarly, in the discovery tree, there are some technology that can only be discovered in a specific province. Some only in Latium, some only in Albion. So for example, for Albion, they give the example of discovering the deities we just mentioned, but also a technology that allows you to efficiently plant trees. For the marsh drainage, right? We have the marshes, these areas there that are potentially providing you some resources, but where you can't really build a lot of things. It is actually possible to drain them, as you can see over here on this video, a bit like in Mbesa in Anno 1800, and we're gonna have those canals that are going to take all of the water, and therefore we drain all of the water that is everywhere else, and we're pushing it out to the sea. And of course with this, you're gonna gain some new terrains that you can do things on. But this is definitely a Romanization, right? The Celtics are not gonna like that. Last but not least, it will be a bit the same for the military, where some units will be available in both regions, but some units are only available in Latium. This is the legionaries to, actually recruit them there, While in Albion, we have the axe bearers and the chariots. So let's look quickly at those units over here. Here we have the axe bearers. They are hidden right now into those forests. They're coming out and they're going to try to do some pretty damaging attack on the flank here. And here we have those chariots. Looking good, looking good. Probably gonna be great. Look at this. This is archers, but the archers that can move fast, right? Because they have those horses. They are horses, yes, they are. So yes, see the damage here, and he's gonna show us that he can move them far pretty quickly. And so that may be very hard for an enemy to defend against a troop like this. There are still a couple of topics that we have never seen in dev blogs, like the topic of diplomacy, but more importantly, let me remind you that you can now play Anno 1.17 for free. It's a free demo available both on Steam and the Ubisoft Connect.